friends, just want to show you the recent developments on Clash on Little Pond. So let's dive in. Right, let's start by turning it on. Of course, cloud is not working because it's not turned on. I'll leave it in real time so you see the time that it takes to do even simple tasks as turning things on, because sometimes clients don't quite, not saying that are my clients, but at least not the current ones, but sometimes clients want things made in 1 minute, and 1 minute is not enough even for you to turn on the clouds. So let's do this. Now let's try it again. And let's go to the most recent, oh, not this one. So, some waiting involved, you can move forward. Now I'm wondering, is the mic turned on? Yes, it is. Great. So nothing happens because it's all stuck. That's great. Let's just kill it. Let's just start all over again. Okay. That was an older project. I had to fetch some things that was on that project to the new one, and this is the new one. Yes. Okay. So one problem that I was having, it was like the speed I could preview the animation, and it was not real time. It was far from it. So I had to solve some issues so that this now runs at 24 frames by second, so that I can preview everything that is on the shot without much problems. I can even turn off these plants if I want it. They are the view culling plants. It helps to have some plants around because we need to frame the shot and know where things are. The trees and everything on the background, that's pretty much, I can give it a look when I want, but not important for the immediate framing of the shot. So if you notice, these are the plants that like I explained before, they only appear in front of the camera. This is done to save polygons. It doesn't save memory, it doesn't save anything except polygons. It does render slightly fast. So talking about rendering, this is the time that it takes it to load the shaders. And I remember that all textures on this project are now compressed textures. As you can see, they are D5 textures in .dds BC3 format, which is the only one that Blender actually can use to save VRAM memory. As you can notice, now it's 0.6 gigabytes of VRAM memory, but as soon as we load some textures to it, you'll notice that it will rise real fast. Let's give it a look. So it's already on 6 gigabytes of VRAM almost, and it's just loading. Triangles, as you can see, we are around 3 million and something triangles. Objects, 3,000 objects at the moment. And loading textures. This is just running through the cloud, going to the router and PC, loading everything to RAM, and RAM feeding the GPU in the VRAM. So it's quite a path that has to travel, so before you can see anything. That's why on the PlayStation and Dreamcast days we had loading times. It's the loading, it's the time that textures and the other stuff, objects, take to go from your hard drive or the CD-ROM back in the day to the system RAM, and then to the video processing RAM. And here we are. The full shot with many things deactivated so that you can actually move something around it. But like, as you can see in rendered mode, it's far from real time. If you activate this and you run it, and you see that this is like 1 frame per second. That's expectable. That's pretty much what one would expect, because there's a lot of effects, there's GI, there's a lot of calculations that require many steps. But what we want is the solid mode, so that you can animate the frogs, and as you can see, it's now running everything at 24 FPS stable. Yep, pretty much it. And you're wondering, these lines that you are seeing here, this thing in the camera, they will show you the aspect ratios. Well, the movie primary aspect ratio will be 2.39:1, but I want to render everything full frame, like in the old 35mm tape film. It's not tape, film, the 35mm film. So I want to full frame is exactly all that the camera can see, and then we can crop the bit that you want to actually show. Because I want to make some trick with this, like I did with Orient here, is the thing I like is change a bit the aspect ratios. I have this set up, and I have also gates. The gates that are actually, if you notice, they are actually squares in front of the camera, but allow me to really fast kind of change the aspect ratio. You see, I can do 2.39:1, and I can do this will be 16:9, the televisions. The other one is the cinema standard. Yeah, and for some reason this is giving me troubles, but this will be 16:9, and I want this for a reason that I want you to remember that I was doing something with this, but I don't want to explain exactly what it is now. You'll see it when the movie is done. And yeah, so this is the gates that allow to kind of mask a little bit of the film when I want to, but most of it will be almost like 95% of it will be just full frame, will be rendered in full frame aperture, because also if I manage to get this on VHS will be the format with the most frame visible all the time. This will be visible, but because YouTube now has the thing that everything needs to be 16:9, so it's a little bit complicated. In cinema we can do whatever you want with this, but in YouTube it fix it to 16:9, and if you do this badly, then there is a square. You just see a square, there's bars on top, bars on side, bars everywhere. So I don't like that. That looks very ugly, and I try to make it in a way that doesn't happen. At least for the YouTube version. For cinema, there's no problem with that. We can do pretty much whatever we want to with the aspect ratios. And in Orient here, I seen it on the theater, and it looked great. On YouTube, that's problem with bars everywhere. It doesn't look great, but on theaters, if projected correctly, it does look really nice. And so this is kind of a thing that I want to also do on Clash on Little Pond. It's John Woo has doves and all that stuff. I have weird aspect ratios, but it will look cool. So yeah, so that's pretty much that. I've been optimizing all of this, and one thing I learned while working on the Spiral Game Engine project, I've been making the graphics and animations for our Dreamcast, Sega Dreamcast mini game, that runs on Spiral Game Engine, the brand new Sega Dreamcast game engine. That it is not released yet, but it will be soon. It's made by Dark Bat Studios at Neckleye in the Twitter. Soundtrack is by Subin Karkani. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it not exactly right. And it's the same composer of Flash on Little Pound. Subin Karkani. I'll ask him later if it is pronounced correctly. And yeah, so let's talk about it. One thing I learned is that everything counts to speed, the speed we see things on the viewport. Everything, like solid shading, takes longer to run than smooth shading. This solid shading is not excellent for speed, but that is on the clouds of. That's something that I'll do soon. The Cloud Creator, also the Pure Sky system, also allows for smooth. I just didn't got there. But if you use, for example, on an object, if you use Auto Smooth, if you leave it on for the viewport, it will render slower than if you just use Shade Smooth. Shade Smooth is the fastest. I learned this doing the Dreamcast thing. And also, if you have everything in the scenery as animation, every tree, everything, every cloud, absolutely everything, the fish, everything you see on the scenery will have animation. But you don't need that while you are actually animation the frogs, or else you won't be able to run this as 24 frames, and it will be a pain to animate. Orion Tier was like that. It would run never at real speed, so I had to imagine the speed that the thing was running, and it was a nightmare. But in this time I'm trying to at least have one frog activated at the time, and everything runs at 24 frames, and so far it seems to be doing just that. So yeah, right, so where I was going, I'm kind of lost in my reasoning, but okay, yes, everything doesn't need to move, although it does move. Everything moves. It's kind of lost in many assets, but for example the lily pad, this one, as you can see, it's not moving, because having it moving, now you don't see any difference because it's just one. But this motion needs to be processed. It's geometry nodes. It's a geometry node editor. So this obviously does add up some processing time, which makes no difference in one object, but when you have all of them, it makes a huge difference. So in the viewport, I just deactivate the visibility of that. When it renders, as you can see, it will keep it. Everything will move. So we need to do this one by one and ensure that everything moves in the final render, but you don't need to see it while you are animating. And that's why I deactivated everything. So now the fish are moving, but I could even remove that, but I want to see them, because may need to, in some shot, I may want to see the fish there. So I need to adjust that. I'll leave just the things that I need to adjust. One thing that I was trying to do is that everything in top of the lily pad would move, like the lily pad moves and the tables and everything move. Okay, I made some testing with that. Quite does not work. You kind of feel seasick. Yeah, it's not pleasant. For some people it would be okay, but I made also experimentations in the work for Boombit, and in a video we had a ship, a boat, a used boat with cars on it, and I did the same thing. I tried to have it to balance, and yeah, it kind of doesn't work. It's too much movement in a thing that you're not used to that. So what I did, because I want to have some motion on it, I just activated it. what I did, instead of having everything moving up and down, which was a bit distracting and also difficult to place the characters because the lily pad would rise and the characters would have to be patterned to each point. It would be a nightmare to deal with that. So what I did, instead of having everything move, what I did, let me see if this is visible. Wait, we have some issue. Let me see the timeline. Ah, yes. It's not a much noticeable effect, but what I did, instead of moving all the nano fur on up and down, it just moves the edges. So if you want to see that, it only has some weight in the edges, and in the middle has none. And of course the bottom part can have a lot of movement. It makes no difference. But for the part, it does move, as you can see, but only the edges of it. So it will look that is not stop. It will look live because it's blend, it's live, it's on lake. But yeah, it should give some reliability. Should make it easy to animate also. So everything else is done. All the scenery is done. All the assets, it's done. Now we are dealing with the rigging, and I've been talking with Michael Colleen about that, and we'll try to find a solution. I will try to help in what I can to see if I can do some tasks. Not sure if I have the competence for it, but let's see. I think so. I did a few. Not as cool as the Michael Colleen ones, but I did some rigs like many 100 or something like that. None as cool as Michael. They are really good rigs. They are really very, very high quality. This is like picture quality. We have so we don't have much detail on the characters. They are kind of low poly, but Michael managed to make them extremely comfortable, extremely easy to manipulate. As you can see, we can do any expression that we want and smooth everything around. So we have easy controls and we have very detailed controls that we can do and use, pretty much use, to make this look as cool as possible. Yeah, it's pretty much rigified, but with some adjustable things from Michael. And we have now 2 characters made, and we have like another 3 that are made but not perfect. They have a whole system that has some details to fix, but yeah, like probably we have 5 in some stage of completeness. Boris is complete, Camila is complete, but there is a version issue with the add-on. It needs all to be in the same version because they will be all together in this place. They will be all visible all the time. So that's why I cannot do much shots. I cannot do a shot with just Boris because it's never alone. It's everybody. This is full of people all the time, and there's pretty much no shot that we can film. That is 1 or 2 that we can film without interfering with everything else, and the bar gets destroyed as we go along. So I cannot shoot something now, and the share probably will be in another place and can be complicated. So we need to first rig everything, have the 12 characters on scene, and yeah, pretty much that. So regarding money, that the internal problem of the filmmakers. and the one that I have no experience, because for me the only way to find money is actually working to find money. There is a crowdfunding method very famous that described as working, but working takes you the entire day, so you don't have time to work on the project, and that's a problem. But without money you cannot work at all in the project, so you need money. You need to constantly find money. And when some people say, oh, this project was made with €0, yes, that's because your father or somebody sponsored you the computer and the electricity and the food and the house and everything else. Well, when you get older, that is no longer possible, so you need to find money all the time. It's like a spring of money that you need to have all the time. And as such, I'm very grateful that I can work with for a video game company. It's Boombit. It's a cell phone video game company. They do casual games for the cell phones, and I do cinematics for them. I do trailers and some ads, and many times cinematics, just cinematic elements for publicity and all that stuff. And without them, I could not do this at Saturdays by the end of the day when it's possible, which is not often, but I'll try. So it's a juggle you have to make. We have to first place that is work. When the work gives you a break, like the Saturdays, occasionally by the end of the day, but mostly of the time no, it's the entire day just for them, because it has to render by the end of the day, and the computer just has no memory available. You turn on something and the render for them crashes, so no way. After the work hours, the renders keep doing their work and the computer keeps all the power for that, so I cannot do anything at all. Can do small things like sometimes write something or plan, but no heavy work. What else? So where I was going? Yes, I tried to send emails to the beer companies, because we have beer, we have lots of beer everywhere. Let me try to activate this again. As you can see, now it has to load every texture again because it's not in the memory anymore. So every single texture needs to go from the cloud, pass by the router, go to the PC, RAM. Now RAM is sending everything to VRAM, and when all of that procedure is complete, we'll see some texture on this. Let's give it a look. Some waiting is important. If you want to make movies, you need to be very friend of waiting. This is still on the cloud. Now it's pulling the data to the RAM but before it has to pass by the router. Now it's filling the RAM, and finally there is missing textures. That's great. Don't know why. What happened? For some reason, since the moment that we start, there are a missing element. Then that's that. But anyway, so let's forget this. That we have beer barrels. We have beer barrels. We can make a logo for the beers. If some beer brand wants to sponsor us, we can make the logo. We'll draw it by hand so it looks fit with the scenery, and we can place it on the cups and the beer barrels and mugs and all of that. That they are constantly present on the scenery. There's nothing. It was not thought for that. It was not thought for grabbing money from the beer guys. It was not. They are there since the very day one on the script. They are important for the story. They are not just decorative. They are a key element of the story. And yeah, that will be something that we could use to find some money. Like if some beer company wants to sponsor us, just please write me whatever you in any place that you want, in the comments below, for example, and we'll get to there. We'll talk about it. So that will be money like for help rigging the frogs. It for me it would be like pointless, but it could help rigging the artist rigging the frogs, Michael Colina. It can help then to find animators to help on the animation part, and it will be money for other people to help around, to find time to help around, because I have to keep the money flowing all the time. It's like it has to flow all the time, so it's not for me. I have to work anyway, so yeah. So yeah, I think that this pretty much covered it up. You probably have stopped many times by now or skip a lot of things. I would do just the same. And until next time.